It's not often that I see a perfect encapsulation of how duplicitous and dishonest Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is, but Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre did an amazing explanation on how Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party lie to Canadians, telling one group of Canadians one thing and another group of Canadians another thing, and then in public giving very mealy-mouthed answers so they don't seemingly contradict either their contradictory positions. But before I play this clip of Pierre, I just want to quickly mention the fact that Wyatt Claypool, I'm running for the Calgary Signal Hill Conservative Party nomination. If you live in this riding, it's in the west part of Calgary. Make sure that you buy a membership, vote for me for the nomination. This is what the riding looks like. If you live in the Bowness or Greenbrier area, it's being cut out. This is generally what the riding looks like. If you live there, buy a membership. I have my website in the description below. If you live in the riding, sign up on the email list. We want real conservatives representing real conservative ridings. A lot of red Tories running for this one. So make sure if you do live there, you actually check out the website and sign up, buy a membership, sign up for the email list. Anyways, this is an amazing clip of Pierre. He's being asked why Melanie Joly and the Liberal Party's Foreign Affairs Office keeps putting out these very strangely worded positions on the Israel-Gaza conflict. They basically take no position in public, and then Pierre Poilievre exposes the fact that Trudeau actually has three positions on this issue that nobody seems to notice.
Melanie Joly said this morning her statement is her statement and wouldn't elaborate further on whether what's happening in Gaza is a genocide. How adequate is that in terms of clarifying Canada's position? English and French as well, please.
Which position?
She did not elaborate further. That's all I can give you, I'm afraid.
Well, I have to figure out which position I'm to comment on, because Justin Trudeau has many different positions on the question that you raised. What he's done is very cynical. He's divided the country again. So he gets a block of MPs to go out to mosques and say that Israel has committed a genocide. And then he gets another group of Liberal MPs to go to synagogues and say that it's totally outrageous to suggest that Israel has committed a genocide. And he sits in the middle of the two and gives incomprehensible statements. You would need a linguist with a PhD and a magnifying glass to figure out the garble that comes out of the foreign minister and the prime minister on this question, because they're deliberately giving answers that no one can comprehend. He's divided the country on this just like every other issue. The reality is there is a genocide being carried out by Hamas. I don't have to accuse Hamas of committing genocide. They admit it. They proudly brag about it. It's in their charter. They have announced that as soon as the conflict ends, if they're still in power, they will relaunch another October 7th style attack with the purpose of eliminating all Jews from the Middle East. And they frankly would love to eliminate Jews from the rest of the world. This is a genocidal, homicidal, sadistic death cult. And everything I have just said are things that Hamas admits to. So it's time for the Prime Minister to grow a backbone, stop trying to divide Canadians based on religion and ethnicity, and take a principled stand in favor of humanity and against the real propagators of genocide, who are the Hamas terrorists.
And thanks for True North for clipping that. I don't have a team behind me, so it's always good when other news outlets clip things from CPAC. But that's 100% a great explanation of how Trudeau and the Liberals lie. Maybe a lot of you aren't interested in the foreign policy sort of topics about the Israel-Gaza war, but Justin Trudeau does this all the time on other topics. He says one thing in French when he wants to basically calm the nerves of Quebec nationalists or separatists, and then he says another thing in English. He talks to businessmen about how he actually does support the energy industry, and then when he's in a room of hyper-progressive or green activists, he talks about how we need an energy transition and we need to be off of oil by 2035. The man is completely he changes position like a clock changes the time. The man cannot stick to one thing at a time. And I think on the Israel-Gaza thing, it's one of the most disgusting examples of this, because he's going to some of these few radical mosques who want Justin Trudeau to take part in Hamas apologia. And he basically talks about, oh, yes, it's the Jews who a bunch of Hamas people murdered. And then because they're firing back on you, that's genocide. disgusting. And then he puts out people like Marco Mendocino and Anthony Housefather and Yara Sachs to go to synagogues and say that, Israel's obviously not committing genocide. And I think it's good that they go out and say those things. But the problem is that it kind of spoils the whole thing when other MPs and Justin Trudeau go to mosques and they pretend that Hamas are like a Boy Scouts troop and that they're victims. But yeah, this is what Trudeau does over and over and over again on every single topic. We see it legitimately put out start a stopwatch and see how long it takes Trudeau to take another position on something. Every single thing he takes another position on, whether it's fiscal responsibility, whether it's social issues, whether it's foreign policy, whether it's energy, he will always take 4 or 5 different positions and tell people those positions in different provinces. And this is where the legacy media in Canada has been so useless. It's that if you pay attention, you can tell when he takes these different positions, but no one really ever wants to cover the fact that Trudeau's always pretty much lying whenever he states his position on some topic. That in 2015, 2016, 2017, it would have been very easy to show that he was always the green radical that he is today, but he would go into provinces like Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Newfoundland, and he would say that, oh no, I totally support the oil and natural gas industry. When he goes to Vancouver Island or he's in Quebec, he talks about how we can't have any more pipelines, and we have to start shrinking the oil and gas, the energy industry, and we have to start transitioning to green stuff. That it's always been there. And the thing is that I think that people, if you know anyone who votes Liberal, supports Liberals, you have to ask them if they say that, I support Trudeau's position on this issue. Which position? He has 3 on almost any topic. Ask them what position that they actually support of Justin Trudeau's and which of the various positions on that topic that they actually support. Because it must be like having Stockholm syndrome, being a Liberal Party supporter these days. You have to just go with the flow that the person holding you hostage, Justin Trudeau, has the best of intentions for you. Yes, he lies to me all the time. Yes, he keeps making my life far worse, but he keeps promising me good things, and every once in a while he does say the right thing on the topic, even though by next week he's saying the wrong thing again. That's really just the perfect encapsulation of the Liberal Party. It's a leftist party that pretends to be moderate depending on what audience it's in front of. At least the NDP and the Greens are straight up about what they believe. They do really bad in politics because they're honest with what they believe, but at least they tell you. The only reason the Liberal Party since post-Chrétien has been able to do at all well, and they haven't even really done that well, especially when you consider how poorly I was about to say the bloc leader, but like the Ignatieffs of the world and that other guy, Stéphane Dion, and now Trudeau. The only reason any of those guys have had any level of success, and Stéphane and Ignatieff really never have, is because they're just good liars, and they're good at playing the media. They are good at making good sounding explanations that will get clipped by all the news stations, and people assume that that's what his position is, and then he will go tell donors and activists behind the scenes what his other real position is, and then he just kind of mostly does what he told the activists and his base, and then he adds in a tiny fraction of moderation to his position to pretend he's not as crazy as the NDP and the Greens. Anyways, so that was really good to see Poilievre do that. But if ending off the episode, I just want to mention the fact that I do have my Give, Send, Go link in the description of this video. It's a legal fundraiser. Myself and the National Telegraph are being sued by a billionaire. It's a stupid, frivolous lawsuit. We're winning it. There's a reason why it's slowed down a lot. It's because this guy has no ability to actually take us to court and win. So he's just throwing paperwork at us. But it's cost me over $25,000 so far. If you want to pitch in and help lighten the load, that really helps me out. And again, if you live in the riding of Calgary Signal Hill, let me pop the map back up. If you live in this riding, except for the Bowness Greenbrier area, I believe another candidate told me that the actual riding is expanding a little bit in the southeast corner. But if you live in this riding, buy a Conservative Party membership. Click on my website in the description below, wyattclaypool.com. Sign up for the email list. We need to make sure that we stop these pro-lockdown red Tories who are trying to get in the riding to win it. They don't even live here. There's a bunch of these pro-lockdown MLAs trying to run here. Some people who were actually in charge of censorship policy at Facebook trying to run here. It's ridiculous. It's a strong riding, and we shouldn't have a bunch of these O'Toole-style red Tories. Anyways, that should be it for me today. I'm probably about to go to the Tucker Carlson event. A bunch of people invited me, so I'll go check it out and see what I think about it. And other than that, I'll see everyone in my next episode either tonight or tomorrow.